Okay, yes, we are on page 726 at the bottom. Shanti Swastyanana, a ritual to remove obstacles and bring peace. Mother was feeling ill and had gone to the physician last week. And I see Haima being very diligent because I am not exactly where we left off. And since somebody noticed, I have to explain that I took pictures of the pages so that I wouldn't have to carry the big book. And I was very careful to go with where the little tag is, my little thing here to keep the marker. But I photographed the wrong side of the page.
It's
So the pointer is actually on the other page, but I didn't photograph that side, so we have to start here today. So
I
that's
think
just in case you started to think something of me. Now you know
you
to
left
ring
off
me.
on 725, Swami.
Yes, yes.
Some mother said that's where we were.
Do you have that? Do you want to read that to us?
Oh, okay, sure. I would be very happy.
Okay, why don't you read just until you turn the page to 726 and then we'll start
Okay.
from there.
Okay, it's page 725.
That's how we'll solve
It's in
this.
the
Oh, here comes
middle.
Bella. Just a moment. Let's
Can
let
you
Bella.
hear me?
Yes.
Can you all hear me? Okay, sure. Mother said, "Yes, my son." Oh, let me go back a couple of lines before so it would connect better. When the mother had finished drinking, Maharaj dropped the mosquito curtain, tucked it under her mattress, and said, "Mother, let me go now." Mother said, "Yes, my son." "Ha, how much trouble I have given you this night. Please go and sleep now, my son. Durga, Durga." Previously, the mother had worn a long veil in front of Sharat Maharaj, and she seldom talked to him directly, which had hurt his feelings. Sometimes he would say with a smile, "It is as if I am her father in law." In those days, the daughter in law wore a veil in front of her father in law. Later, Sharat Maharaj said, "With a view to removing my pain and wounded feelings, the mother took my service that way." The next day, I said to Sharat Maharaj, "It seems that the mother is a little irritated with me. I shall no longer give her the milk or check her temperature with the thermometer. But I shall arrange everything from behind the scenes." Sharat Maharaj, "But you will have to feed the main meal." I said, "Yes, Maharaj, I shall feed the mother solid food and do other things. Let someone else give her the milk and use the thermometer." That day passed and the mother watched everything. The next morning, I finished my work and then I said to Mandakini, "My clothes are dirty. I am going to the boarding house at Nivedita school to hand over these cloths for washing. After my return, I will feed the mother lunch." When I left, the mother asked Mandakini, "Where was Sarala gone?"
All right. Good. I
That's
can pick up.
where. Now
Yes.
you are on 726.
Now we're all on the same place.
On
I
the
have a
same
picture
page,
of the
yes.
rest of the page.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, that mother wearing that veil. I have a fun story. I'll throw it out there for you. I don't know if you remember Clemmy in the San Diego Center, an elderly devotee. She was up over 100 when she passed away, and the center. She lived alone all the way until her last day. She lived alone in a studio apartment, and the center, the devotees there were always trying to get her to move someplace where they could get some help for her because her studio was too small for people to fit in there, for someone to be able to be there to help her all the time. And she always said, "Holy Mother takes care of me," and everybody was like, "Well, of course we know Holy Mother's taking care of you, how we are as folks." And she says, "No, I mean, Holy Mother is there and helps me, takes care of me," because Clemmy was blind, and she said that her mother would help her find things in the kitchen and whatnot. And so I went over there with another Swami one afternoon to visit her. And it was in her last days, and she was on a hospital bed in the middle of her living room. And she was kind of sitting there, and she was somewhat asleep, kind of just, when someone's not well, they're just, you know, sitting there, eyes closed, kind of sleeping, coming in and out of sleep. And I was sitting on the bed on one side and holding one hand, and the other Swami was sitting on the other side of the bed and holding her other hand. And we were sitting there, and all of a sudden she wakes up and is very alert, and she's looking straight in front of her and up a little bit, not at either of the Swamis sitting on either side of her. And she says, "Oh, mother, you've come." And then she said, "But why are you wearing a veil today, mother?" And she paused for a moment, and then she said, "I see, because the boys are here." And I was like, well, that would be necessary if I could see her. But it was really, I mean, I just tell you, I got shivers, just both of us, me and the other Swami. We just, because I'm not telling the story with his permission. That's why I'm not giving his name. But, we looked at each other. We were like just wide eyed, like, oh my gosh. And she said a few more words and then sat back down and kind of relaxed a little bit and then went back to sleep again. And I just sat there looking at the other Swami, just like in awe, like, oh my God, did that really just happen? Did that really just happen? But anyway, so this idea when she was seeing Mother with her veil on just reminded me of that modesty, uh, that she,
Swami,
hmm.
so last week, wasn't Mother dying?
Yes, she's not well. And she went to a doctor's appointment. And when we pick up here, it'll bring some of that up here in a minute.
Okay.
So she said, learning that I had gone to the boarding house, she said, has Shalala then left being mad at me? Mandakini, no, mother. Shalala is not mad at you. She has gone to give her clothes for washing. She'll be back to feed you your lunch. Mother, no, Shalala. She must be mad at me and has left. When I returned, Mandakini told me everything. As soon as I entered the room, the mother asked me to come near and said, my daughter, are you angry with me? No, mother. Why should I be angry with you? I replied. She said, then why are you not giving me milk and putting the stick under my armpit? Look, my child, sometimes I am a little irritated from suffering constantly with this disease. Sometimes I say something, but I do not mean it. Please don't be angry with my words, my child. Saying so, she put my head on her chest and showed me her affection, and then I cried. Wow. Wow. The mother of motherhood, the very essence of mother. Can you just imagine what that would feel like to place your head on her shoulder and just have her reassure you like that? A beautiful thing. Just to take courage in that. During her prolonged illness, Holy Mother developed a repulsion towards food. She did not relish the doctor's diet, and her food intake was very small. She used to eat a small quantity of rice for lunch, and one day Dr. Kanjilal was present when the mother was eating. Seeing the big quantity of rice on the plate, he told Shalala in front of the mother, you should not serve the mother. Tomorrow I shall bring 2 nurses to serve her. You need not do anything. The mother heard the doctor and told Shalala later, ha! Does he think that I will take service from those girls with boots on? It is not possible. It is not possible. You serve me as usual. Why does Kanjilal make so much fuss over my eating rice? Do I relish rice? He does not know. Within a few days, the mother completely stopped eating rice. One day she said to Shadala, just see, the other day Kanjilal was annoyed at my taking rice, and from that day on my desire to eat rice has disappeared. Sometimes the mother would call Sharat Maharaj and complain like a little girl. My son, don't take this bitter medicine anymore. You rub my back with your cold hand. Thus the mother took some personal service from Swami Sharadananda. Shanti Swasthayana, a ritual to remove obstacles and to bring peace. When human efforts fail, people resort to divine help. When Holy Mother's medical treatment was not bearing any results, Sharadananda had the mother's horoscope examined by some noted astrologers. They suggested performing the traditional Shanti Swasthayana, a kind of ritual and prayer to remove obstacles and to bring physical, mental, terrestrial, and supernatural peace. Accordingly, Sharadananda instructed Swami Vishweshwarananda to perform this ritual for 15 days, from the 14th to the 28th of May, in a room on the third floor of the Udbodhan house. That Udbodhan house is in, I think, like downtown Calcutta. You can still see it today as a center there. And I've been up on the patio where mothers used to stand and look out on the town below. Vishweshwarananda worshipped 5 forms of the Divine Mother: Kali, Tara, Bhuvaneshwari, Chinnamasta, and Kamala. He also worshipped 5 planets in order to propitiate them. Moreover, Sharadananda arranged the recitation of the Chandi at the Siddheshwari temple in Baghbazar. In addition to performing these rituals, the mother's devotees and disciples prayed and repeated mantras for her recovery. Swami Sharadeshananda later wrote, apart from medical treatments, there were performances of rituals propitiating the deities, the stars and planets, and there was a homa fire for the recovery of the mother. Sometimes she felt a little better, but there was no lasting effect. Every day a monk, Sharadeshananda, brought fresh flowers and spotless bell leaves from Belurmat for the ritual and homa, and fresh lemons for the mother. One morning, when Sharadeshananda arrived at the shrine of Udbodhan, he found that Kapil Maharaj, Swami Vishweshwarananda, was very much disturbed. The ghat in which he was performing the special ritual had all of a sudden sprung a leak that morning. Everyone was sad and anxious. They replaced it with a new one, but unfortunately that one was also leaking. Kapil Maharaj hurriedly went to a shop and brought a new one after carefully examining it. After cleaning and filling it with water, it was placed on the altar. Thus the worship was delayed. This day they were having a special worship and a homa for the guardian deity of the mother's destiny. This sudden mishap created deep concern in the minds of all. When a monk told the story to Yoganma, she said with a deep sigh, yes, my child, I understand it all. It is not the jar that has developed the leak. We have lost favor with fortune. When this ritual had no effect, some disciples earnestly prayed to Holy Mother, Mother, if you say once, let this disease be cured, it will definitely go away. The mother replied, can I pray such a thing, my child? Whatever is the wish of the master, that will happen. What more can I say? Whenever the master takes me, I shall go. This we see Ramakrishna also doing that many times during his last days and his illness. All the disciples saying, oh, if you just say, to the divine, heal me, you'll be healed in a moment. And Ramakrishna was a bit stronger in the sense that he's, would I pray for this bucket of flesh? Why would I pray for something like that? Because they understand, and not just understand. I mean, they don't see themselves as a body. They feel themselves carried in the chariot of the body. They know that separation. And they know it's not who they are. So this life is not their life. It's just a segment of their immortal life, their forever life. And for us, it's the exact same. But for some reason, we just don't see it as clearly. We don't hold on to it as deeply. And so the mother they don't understand that level of attachment to the body. Why would I ever ask for such a thing like that? It's such a, everybody drops, everybody falls, the body is not meant to go on forever. And how many times could you pray for recovery? How old would you have to let the body go? This is one of those things that's one of the mysteries of the universe, that our attachment to this body. Old age is a grace to us. It's mother, it's the divine, it's God showing us this body is not meant to last. It's temporal. It's going to go away. Right? And he knows it's going to be a painful separation. He knows the separation from the body will be scary and difficult for us. And so what does nature do? It wears this body out. It wears it out. It melts it, makes the skin sag and the hair fall out and go grayer and grayer, and our eyes fail and our toes fail and our feet hurt and our knees hurt and our joints hurt. We get emaciated. Our stomach doesn't work anymore, you know, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. But do we let go? No. You know, I've seen people laying in the hospital. You can count their joints. You know, you can see every bone in their body. You can see every vein in their body. They can't even lift their arms anymore. Still clinging to that body to not let go. And so for the spiritual seeker, you know, this aging is a grace of the divine. He's helping you. You know, the divine is helping you to let go of your attachment slowly over time, to remind yourself every day as you look in there, you know, another gray hair, another wrinkle, and another weird thing growing on your skin somewhere, you know, little by little. And he's not doing that so that you can get lots of plastic surgery and hide it and tuck it and put it away. He's doing it so that you can see the beauty of your immortality, so that you can know this body was not meant to last, and you can learn to accept that, you can learn to open to that, and then transcend it, right, and let it drop. You know, one of the practices that I've done sometimes is to sit and think about the body dropping off, letting go of the body, and imagining what it would be like as I laid there, and just kind of identifying all the inputs, all the things that the body is telling me inside, and one by one imagining them shutting down and becoming silent, right? And to just go through and one by one shut off all the sensations that I'm feeling from all the different parts of my body. And you know, the thing about it is knowing that the self is separate from that. All that increases as you shut down the body is your inner peace. All of the noise, the constant nagging of the body with its hungers and its pains and its problems and its attentions and its wants and, you know, appetites, as that slowly silences for the spiritual seeker, for the spiritual knower, every one of those silences brings more inner peace, brings an awareness that's no longer pulling you out of that center of bliss that hopefully you found within your heart, you know, that inner shrine. And so to accept old age, to accept the blemishes, you know, to find some humor in it. You know, I found the way that I think the best way to accept old age is to chuckle at it. You know, I remember when my face was young. I remember when my hair was not, you know, turning gray. I remember those days, you know, these little things at one time you couldn't see at all on my faces, and now I almost have to name them. They're becoming so individual, right? And you laugh and you let go and you understand. You imagine, you sit there and look and like, well, you know, it's going to get a lot worse. You better get used to it. Those wrinkles are going to multiply. These jowls are going to start to hang down below my beard, you know, and I'll have to grow a bigger beard. So when you see my beard start going like this, you'll know I'm not dealing with old age well. Like that. But open up to it. See how the mother accepts it. Doesn't even think about trying to save it, trying to prop it up, you know, in a better way. Accepting the fact, yeah, this body's going to go. It's been going since the day I was born. You know, everybody's body is going. It's unnatural to not accept that. It's a fact of life, right? It's trying to do something that you're trying to win a battle you cannot win. You cannot win it. And so admit that.
Swami, can I
Yeah.
just comment? I don't think when watching people die, it's not always the body they're not letting go of, it's the people they love and the things in
Ah,
life that they have loved that they don't want to say goodbye to. It's not the
okay.
body.
Well, that's an extension of body. It's through the body that we experienced those people. It's the body that gave us those memories, those sights that felt their love. That's why it's important to know that everybody's nature is divine love, so that you
Mhm.
don't fall in love with bodies, you know, so that you don't see that as your avenue of truth. I've shared this before, but there was a woman at a center that I was working at who lost her husband, and they were one of those couples that were deeply deeply in love with each other. and she could not recover. She would come regularly to the temple to talk about it, and every time just be in these painful, struggling tears. And after 2 years, she came to me again, and it was she's saying, I just don't know what to do. I just cannot get over him. We had a long conversation, and mother tells us, you are Satchitananda. Divine love is your nature. So that which you love in your partner or the person that you love, your children, your husband, wife, your friends, your parents, that love that you feel for them, that is who they are. That is who they are. That is what they gave you through that relationship with you. That's why you liked to see them, because when their body came into view, what came out of you? Love. Their imprint, who they are and what they were to you. If you learn to know that, something very important happens. When you think of them, that love burns, doesn't it? It comes to mind. You remember that feeling. That feeling arises within you. If you know that that's who they are, then you have the most intimate company with them at that moment. That they are giving you that same thing that they gave you with their body when they were around. And now they're doing it at merely the thought of them, the memory of them. And if you can make that transition, which is closer to the truth, then remembering them can be great joy for you. Remembering them will be a gratitude for this beautiful feeling that you still have, a very special feeling that all of us are looking for, that all of us are wanting, that connection, right? That oneness. That is beautiful and healthy. But if that memory just reminds you of a body that is no longer there, that memory will be sadness. That memory will be broken. And who they are will not arise within you. Right? That company won't be there. So it's very important to realize that the people that are in your life are not the bodies that are in your life. They are the love that is in your life. And the reason you hang out with them is because that love is there. We love that love, right? It's not for the sake of the wife that the husband loves the wife. It's because of the sake of the self, the love, Satchitananda, that is in the wife. That's why the husband loves the wife and the wife loves the husband. That's why we love our poodles and our and our children and all of these things. It's because of that, right? We can see that and we can know that. So we should hold on to that. And when we're passing, actually, as that body is going, we sit in the shrine of the heart because that is where that love remains, even when the body passes. Because you find that in that shrine of the heart, it's not the body that's important, it's the presence that's important. And in that shrine of the heart, the presence is of the divine. And that is going to get even more intimate as that body drops. Right?
Thank you.
And then think of the mind also. As you lay there and the mind begins silencing, not working as much anymore. If you're not accustomed to what is in, knowing the silence within, which is pregnant with that love and with that infinite potential of every possibility, that fullness of God, if you're not accustomed to that silence, it'll be deafening and terrifying because you'll think, I'm dying, because you don't know you're separate from the body. And that silence will become a terror. And so for this we practice so that we can stay aware of our divine nature, of who we are, that we are expressing through this body, but we are not this body. And this is how Holy Mother can sit there and say, why would I do that? Why would I pray to preserve this thing? It's this thing that's causing me all this suffering right now, right? Why would I want to prolong this? Why would I want more pain coming from this body?
Thank you.
Can I pray such a thing, my child? Whatever is the wish of the Master, that will happen. What more can I say? Whenever the Master takes me, I shall go. In addition, Holy Mother indicated to those close to her that she would soon depart from this world. One day when Gaurima came to see her, she said, my time has come to go. When I die, keep a little relic of my body in your ashrama. Another day she said to someone, do not grieve. I shall have to go. Toward the end, during her last pilgrimage to Varanasi, When Shubala had cursed her, "Sister-in-law, you die," the mother remarked, "Shurabala does not know that I am deathless." So here she is saying that she's got to go, and at the same time saying, "I am deathless." You see how deeply she understands her nature, right? And it's not a belief. It's an experience. That is why she's the Divine Mother. That's why we're reading about her 100 years later. You know? Because she knew these things to be true. They were the part and parcel. She was fearless. Her death was not a spooky thing. It was the day after the day. It was a normal progression. And she knew it would fall, and she's trying to prepare us for it. Shurabala does not know that I am deathless. Holy Mother was not afraid of death at all. She silently forbore all suffering and continued to help others. On the morning of the 8th of March, 1920, Swami Brahmananda came to see the Holy Mother. She was a little better. The mother was silent, and Brahmananda was sad and grave. This was his last visit. He left for Bhubaneswar on the 26th of March. On the 19th of March, Swamis Shivananda and Vijnanananda came from Belur Math. On the 12th of May, Swami Shivananda returned. The chariot festival was held on the 18th of June, and Swami Shivananda came again to see the Holy Mother. Swami Ishanananda wrote, "Mahapurush Maharaj quite often came from Belur Math to Udbodhan by boat. He discussed the mother's physical condition and treatment with Sharat Maharaj, and then returned to the Math. He did not go upstairs to disturb the bedridden mother because he did not want to make her feel uncomfortable. Many monks from different centers of India visited the mother during this period. Some slept in the courtyard due to the shortage of space. As there was no electric fan or air conditioning in Udbodhan house, Holy Mother suffered from the summer heat. Oh boy, I bet. The summer heat in Calcutta, that heavy, heavy, heavy moisture in the air, and that heat, that 95, 100 degrees. Oh my gosh. And nowhere to get away from it. Yes. There was no electric fan or air conditioning. Holy Mother suffered from the summer heat. Her suffering was made worse by her fever and her excessive bile secretion. Most of the time, someone fanned her with a palm leaf fan. Every day, Swami Shivananda selected some monks and sent them to Udbodhan house from Belur Math to serve the mother, although the mother had sufficient attendance there. Kaviraj Shyamadas noticed that the mother's hands and feet were swollen. He changed the medicine and prescribed punarnava, spinach and amrul spinach, so that mother would get her appetite back. Those types of spinach were not available in Calcutta, but when the news reached Belur Math, the monks searched and found some in the flower garden of the monastery and in some other places. At Swami Shivananda's instruction, every morning a brahmachari crossed the Ganges to take fresh spinach to Udbodhan. The monk bowed down to the mother, got news about her physical condition, and reported to Shivananda when he returned to Belur Math. Holy Mother's visitors were strictly restricted. Only the monks and close disciples and devotees could see her, and only from outside her room. No one was supposed to touch her feet. A few sincere people who came from far away saw the mother after getting permission from Sharadananda. Sometimes it is wrong to keep a patient isolated in a room because that makes the patient more depressed. If a patient is surrounded by loved ones, that patient feels joy and hope inside and knows there are people who care for him or her. Sometimes we think that patients should not talk because it will make them weaker. Of course, there are some visitors who talk about worldly things or about their problems. Those kinds of people make the patient tired and bored. These sorts of visitors should be barred, but it is good for patients to talk to those whom they love and with whom they are well acquainted. They relieve the patient's suppressed pain and agony. Saradeshananda had lived with the mother as an attendant for a long time in Jairabati, and she was very fond of him. There was no room for him to stay at Udbodhan house, so he traveled from Belur to Udbodhan every day to see her. After seeing her, he bowed down to the master's image in her room and prayed to him for the mother's recovery and returned to Bellermont. He had a great desire to talk to her and to serve her during this critical time. One day at noon, the Swami went upstairs on an errand and peeped through the slightly opened door. The mother saw him and called him inside. She asked her female attendant to give him the fan and then to leave them alone. The doctor had instructed that she sit up, reclining on a bolster for an hour after lunch and then lie down to sleep. Sharadeshananda began to fan her gently, and the mother talked to him from time to time. She broke her drowsiness talking to her dear disciple. The whole of Udbodhan house was quiet because most people were resting after lunch. Holy Mother told Sharadeshananda that despite all kinds of treatment, there had been no good results so far. He consoled her. Mother, you will be right by the grace of the Master. Please don't worry. There was no sign of any sorrow, no sign of any worry in the mother's eyes, face, or her words. Seeing her disciple's sad face, the mother pressed her foot with a finger and said, "Look, here is a pitting edema." Edema. The Swami looked at the hollow on the mother's foot intently. Then the mother said, "My son, you check with your own finger." Sharadeshananda knew that he was not supposed to touch the mother's feet. However, because the mother was asking him, he touched the hollow lightly. Not satisfied, the mother said with a smile, "My son, press it as hard and check for yourself." So he pressed hard on the mother's foot, and he saw the pitting edema. This way the mother looked at the hollow in her foot, it seemed, as if it were not her foot, but someone else's. It took a long time for that hollow to vanish because of her anemia and edema. The mother changed the topic and talked about other things. After an hour, the mother lay down and slept for a short while. The Swami continued to fan her. When she woke up, she wanted to rinse her mouth, and the Swami brought her a pan and water. There was a half-chewed beetle roll in her mouth, which she spit out first and then rinsed her mouth. The Swami took the pan outside on the veranda and washed it. Just then it struck him that he had lost something valuable that day, the mother's prasad. Holy Mother then wanted to drink some water, and the Swami gave her a glass, but it was difficult for her to swallow. He rubbed her back gently with his left hand and rubbed below her throat with his right hand. Holy Mother looked at her disciple graciously and drank slowly. The disciple was overjoyed that the mother had fulfilled his desire by taking his personal service from him. It's interesting in that, just even mother at that last time like that, she's the patient and she's comforting the Swami. You know, she's got this illness and her foot is swollen, and we know how modest she was. She would never have showed her foot like that to one of the Swamis and had them touch it like that unceremoniously, you know. But she was smiling. Here she is dying and she's smiling and poking and making prints in her edema and having the Swami feel it and touch it, really giving him, because for him to have the opportunity to touch the mother's feet, even though it was forbidden, we know how sacred that was, you know, to take a holy person to be able to touch their feet like that, to take that to show that respect and to receive that kind of blessing. So even here in mother dying, she's still taking care of people, still being more concerned about people losing her than she is about the death itself. Just a compassion that's unconditional. That unconditional means it's not only the condition of us that mother says doesn't prevent her love. It's also her conditions, her own moods, her own thoughts, her own conditions that she won't let get in the way of her love for us. This is divine love. This is what we rest in our practice. This is what we come to understand, and this is what we grow in. And the more that we accept it, the more free we are. the more that we understand it, the more free we are. Free from the need to try and harvest it from the world around us that is constantly changing and diminishing, where everything has a condition, everything has a price and an expiration date. But this love that God has planted within us, this Satchitananda that He's planted within the shrine of your heart, is the one thing that will never end and will never disappear. It is your refuge when the body and the mind fall. It is where you will find your immortality. It is where you will find divine love. It is where you will experience freedom. It is the home of that samadhi that we talk and long for. Later that afternoon, Holy Mother was seated on her bed when an attendant came and asked her something. The mother gave Saradeshananda a key and instructed him to take some money from the tin box in which she used to carry the picture of the master. Many memories flooded the Swami's mind. When at 4 o'clock another attendant came to take over the duty, Saradeshananda left with a heavy heart. One afternoon in the middle of March 1920, Lakshmi, Ramlal, and Ramlal's daughter, Krishnamayi, came to see Holy Mother. They were on their way to attend a festival at the Arkanale in Entally. Ramlal bowed down to the mother and then went downstairs to meet Sharadananda. Lakshmi entertained the mother and her companions by singing and acting, performing the way she used to in front of the master in Dakshineshwar. In the course of the conversation, Lakshmi raised the issue of the future temple at Mother's birthplace and the family property in Kamarpukur. Holy Mother described her proposal to Lakshmi, who related it to Ramlal and Sharadananda. Both of them approved her plan for the future temple at Kamarpukur. Holy Mother was always courteous and loving toward the master's relatives. After they left, the mother said to Ishanananda, "While talking to Lakshmi, I forgot to give her a sari and some money. You go to Entally and see the festival at Arkanale, and then give this cloth and this money to Lakshmi. They decorate the master beautifully at Arkanale." Ishanananda followed the mother's order. See again, there she is, taking care of people, giving away saris and money, and watching, taking care of people. We have mentioned in chapter 20 that the place where Holy Mother was born was purchased from her 3 brothers in the early part of 1920. Each of them received a fair price for the land plus 100 rupees extra. In February of 1920, Holy Mother requested that a well be dug in the southeast corner of that plot, and then she left for Calcutta. Swami Parameshwarananda was the caretaker of Holy Mother's house in Jairamati. He could not figure out exactly where the mother was born, so we wrote to her at Udbodhan House. "Mother, we are unable to pinpoint the spot of your birth. It would be wonderful if you could tell us how we can determine that spot." She wrote back from Calcutta, "When I was born, a Bhagdi woman of Jairamati was present. She is still alive. If you ask her, she will be able to locate the exact spot where I was born." Swami Parameshwarananda recalled, "This Bhagdi woman lived in the southern part of a Jairamati village. We found her and asked her about the mother's birthplace. That old lady said, 'If you give me 5 rupees, I shall tell you.' When we agreed to pay her the money, she said, 'Sarada was not born in this place. Sarada was born in a thatched hut where Bhavani's kitchen and cowshed exist now.' This statement created confusion. When I informed Swami Sharadananda of this, he wrote to me, 'If that plot of land is available, please try to buy it.' This land was purchased after the mother's passing away by paying 300 rupees each to Prasanna, Kali, and Shurya, the mother's cousin. Holy Mother's temple was built there and dedicated in 1923 by Swami Sharadananda." I don't know if any of you have ever been to Jairamati. It's such a beautiful little town. And the temple is just beautiful. There's a big water pond out on the side of it there. And it's surrounded, the whole town. It's on the very edge of town. And you can go out to the edge of the ashrama and look out over this range of, you've never seen green like the green of the rice fields growing in Jairambati. Oh my Lord, it is so green. One of my favorite memories of being in Jairambati was after sannyas. Oh my Lord. After sannyas, where all of me and the men who had taken sannyas with me together were out there just enjoying a few days at mother's home there. And I can remember us out walking in the rice fields that day, and the wind was blowing, and the sky was sort of that deep purple, stormy color in the distance there. And it was one of the strangest moments of my life, really, because I was at the end of the line, and we were all walking along on the berms between the rice paddies, and heading over to this large tree to sit and chant the sannyas mantras together. And so I was, the line was in front of me, but when they would turn the corner on one of the berms, then I would see them begin to fan out, and the wind blowing their chudders and their dhotis behind them, fluttering that bright orange color against that purple stormy background, and that sun shining on them at an angle. And I was watching, and it was so beautiful. I could almost not keep walking. I was just watching it and watching it. And I was just sitting there thinking, how is it that I'm in this line? I know. How is this possible that I'm walking in this ancient tradition of tens of thousands of years, going here with my brothers to sit under this tree and to chant these sannyas mantras, these things that people have been chanting in the Himalayas and taking their vows of renunciation for the love of the divine and truth for literally tens of thousands of years. And it was one of the most awe-inspiring moments of my life, where I just couldn't imagine how this came to be. Me, this little entitled engineer from San Francisco, who never ever thought I would ever see India or know anything of India. And yet to have this gift there in Jairambati, Holy Mother's place. So this temple that I got to sit in that day for the Arati was just built on the very place that the beloved mother was born. How these things come together. Unbelievable. The last spiritual ministry. Although Holy Mother was gravely ill, she continued to bestow grace on the seekers of God. In April of 1920, Priyang Bada Majumdar came from Mymensingh, now in Bangladesh, with her relative Durgesh Das to see the mother. When the mother learned that she had come from such a distance, she initiated her from her bed, despite her attendant's protests. Nalini Kanta Basu was a disciple of the mother, and his wife, Chapala, wanted initiation. Holy Mother had earlier asked her to wait. They lived in Jessore, now in Bangladesh. In May, Chapala realized that the mother was not well, so she talked to Lakshmi, the master's niece, who agreed to give her initiation. When Chapala reported this to the mother, she said, "I shall initiate you. The husband and wife should have the same guru." When her attendant objected, the mother said, "Look, she has come from such a distance." In the middle of May 1920, the mother initiated Chapala without any formality. Chapala at first thought that perhaps Holy Mother had not initiated her properly. Immediately the mother said, "My daughter, go to the shrine and bow down to the master. Don't worry. You will achieve everything from this initiation." All doubts were dispelled from her mind, and she returned home with a joyful heart. God makes everything favorable for those who are sincere and who long for God. Binay Bala Sen had heard about Ramakrishna and Holy Mother in her husband's home in Dhaka, now in Bangladesh. Knowing that the mother was in Calcutta, she came to her father's house in South Calcutta. After a long search, she reached Udbodhan House one afternoon. At that time, no attendant was guarding Holy Mother's door, so she went straight upstairs. When Holy Mother saw Binay Bala, she said, "My child, you've come to me for the mantra." Go to the bathroom, wash your hands and feet, and come to me. B'nai Bala said, Mother, I have not brought anything for initiation. Holy Mother replied, you don't need all of those things. Holy Mother then initiated B'nai Bala. You know, so many times when we think of the Mother, she's always bringing it to the essential. You know, it was, and this attitude is such a freeing attitude. You know, this weekend we had a retreat up in the mountains, and on that first morning I did a puja, and you know, I hadn't checked everything before I got up there. When I got up there, I realized that we didn't have any perfume for the offering, and we didn't have any Ganges water for the offering, and so I was kind of stuck. And I sat there and I sat down in front of the shrine, and I remembered the multiple times that the Mother did puja. You know, one time the rice pot had broken and the rice had spilled, and sometimes this was missing or that couldn't be done. And Mother was always so gracious. And so I just chuckled, you know, at Master, and I just explained to him we were going to have to do a camping puja today. And so I got some water from the faucet and I put it in a small cup, and I put it in front of the Master and asked him to bless it and to turn it into Ganges water, pure water for his worship. And then I pulled out, I asked if anybody had brought any perfume with them or anything like that. And the only thing that somebody had brought was some of that spray hand sanitizer that had lavender scent in it. So when I was doing the puja and I sprayed the hand sanitizer on the flower to offer to the Master, I was just laughing. I just thought that was the funniest thing. And I could just see Thakur also, you know, as playful and childlike as he was, you know, accepting that in the same spirit where love is the most important thing in a puja, you know, especially a devotional puja like that. Love is always the one most important element of any prayer, any song, any service, any offering, you know, anything that we do, actually. Love is the most important element. And this is why we practice, so that we can let that love out unconditioned from ourself in the same way that we receive it in our shrine of the heart from the beloved, from the divine, that we might be known for a divine love. That's what Jesus said about his disciples. He told them, they will know that you are my disciples because of your love, not because of how you worshiped, not because of how you were initiated, you know, not because of the rituals you observe and the buildings you go into to pray. They'll know that you are my disciples because you love. You love like I love you, he used to say, right? And so this is just another one of those ways that we're set free, that we're not stuck in these rituals and these rites and passages, that it's grace that brings you home. Remember, Mother told us that when that young man asked her, what is it, how is it that we realize God? Is it through meditation? Is it through service? You know, how do we get there? And Mother said, none of those. You come to realization through grace alone, through the love of God alone. Because from that grace of God, we learn grace for ourselves. And from that grace for ourselves, we allow ourselves to lay down our karmas. We allow ourselves to sit in that divine presence without separation, without fear, right? And so love flows from God to us, and then from us, it is our duty to be the verb of God, to be the expression of Satchit Ananda, to be love, to be wisdom through this experience of being, and to do it with as little ego as possible, so that that love flows in an equanimous circle that radiates out from us from all sides, not according to mood, not according to relationship, not according to deserving and not deserving, but a steady, unfiltered, undirected, divine love. Mahamaya Mitra, a sister of Kalipada Ghosh, had met Ramakrishna and had free access to the Mother. One day she brought Hiranmayi Ghosh, her nephew's wife, to the Mother. When Hiranmayi approached the mother for initiation, she recommended that she have initiation from Lakshmi. However, when Hiranmayi tearfully bowed down to the mother, Holy Mother put her hand on her head and whispered the Ishta mantra into her ear. Thus, till the end of the mother, thus until the end, the mother bestowed grace upon the sincere seekers of God. Swami Ishanananda wrote, toward the end, the mother could not sit long because of her weakness, but I saw her repeating her mantra while she was lying down. The compassionate mother repeated the mantra for the welfare of her children. Many devotees, disciples, and newcomers wanted to see the mother, but Swami Sharadananda strictly restricted her visitors. One day a devotee went to bow down to Holy Mother, but then he grabbed her feet and put them on his chest. What is this? Holy Mother cried out. Her attendant immediately took the devotee downstairs. Another day an unknown woman came and begged Sharadananda to allow her to see the Holy Mother. Observing her earnestness, the Swami asked a monk to escort her to the mother and then to bring her back downstairs. That monk called a brahmachari to take the woman upstairs and got involved with his own duties. The woman went upstairs on her own and grabbed the mother's feet, beginning to cry. Yogin Ma shouted out, Sharat, whom have you sent? Immediately a monk went upstairs and brought that woman downstairs. Golab Ma commented, it is easy to worship a stone image of God because it does not talk, but it is very difficult to worship the human God who speaks. Later on, it was decided that the devotees could see her only from outside of her room. You know, this is that astonishing selfishness that we have. You know, it's like we want to serve God and yet we want to take from God. You know, that somehow we don't understand, right? That we can't take like that. We always should be conscious of that action. We're going to end here for today. So let me turn off the recorder.